Morning, good afternoon. We depend on the time that you are joining the course. Today we are going to focus on visualization where we will see how we can visual the data based on the data type, either numeric or categorical, as we are concluding the process of explanatory data analysis. So we are trying to see what kind of visuals also we can do for us to make it easier to make good reporting. And after finishing the visualization, we are going to look for how can we do also the reporting of the analysis that we are doing. And I think it is going to be good for us to do analysis, but also knowing how we can report what we have done. So without taking much time, the visualization or plotting any other programming. So we are going to focus on scatter plot, bar plot, line plot, histogram, pie chart, and we will try to see the difference between those charts that we are going to focus on, because there is the reason why we use scatter plot instead of using pie chart, but we need to know which switchable chart based on the data we have. What we need to understand it is that based on the data you have, it is going to guide you the types of chart that you are going to use, or the types of chart that you're going to look for. So the chart are different based on the data type that we are normally looking for. So starting to scatter plot, we have seen that the scatter plot, it is used to evaluate the relationship between two numerical variables, just to see the relationship between dependent and independent variables. So if we need to see the relationship between dependent and dependent variable, we will use the scatter plot. For those who don't know dependent and independent variable, it is if we say the dependent variable understand the effect variable, and if we say the independent variable understand the cause variable. Let's say, for example, those variables should be in a numerical way. So this is the numerical variables that we are looking for if we say the scatter plot, of course. And then those variables, let's say, for example, I want to see the relationship between the salary and experience. So one should be the dependent variable and other should be the independent variable. So the dependent variable there, it is going to be the dependent variable, it is going to be salary, because the salary, it is output of the experience you have, and then the experience is going to be the independent variable, because independent variable, that's what we call the cause variable. That's what they push you to get something, and what we get as a something, as I told you, it is what we call the salary. So for me to get high salary, it will depend on the experience I have. So if we need to see the relationship, to evaluate the relationship just in terms of visual, of course we will use the scatter plot. So for this note, I use the variable, the dataset called mtcars. Mtcars, it is a dataset that is breeding in other programming. The reason why, of course, it is based on the data visualization. So it is also under the package called ggplot2. The ggplot2, it is a package used for the data visualization, and you will see it later. So those are also the scatter plot with main and axis title. If you are trying to make the scatter plot, what you do, it is just try to say plot x and y, only something like that, because you have already defined x and you defined the y here. So what you do, if you say x is equal to data, we have seen that if we are using this dollar sign, we are trying to select the only one variables, and we define it as x, and that's why we say that x and y. So the scatter plot, that's how it look like. If we see this dot that is in a right hand side, like this one, this means that this is the negative relationship. It means that when this x increasing, the y also is going to be decreasing. You see, if x is increasing to here, y is continue to decreasing. So this is, if it is in this position, we say that there is a negative relationship between x and y. But if we have it in the right hand side like this one, this side, if we have it like in this side, like hand side, we used to say that there is a positive relationship where we say that for x, if the x increase, y also continue to increase, which means that there is a positive relationship. And then not only that, we used to have a no relationship. Sometimes we look for the relationship between two variables, and you will see that there is no relationship between those variables. So that's why, like, if we see that things are in a ordered line like this one, they are forming vertical line or horizontal line. If they are forming horizontal or vertical line, we used to say that there is no relationship between those two variables. And that, I think you have seen it in the shared materials of statistics that I have shared you on introduction to statistics. So what you need, it is just to understand the concept, and then you come with the practical skills to interpret it once you have the basic foundations of the theories. So, and again, another thing you can also do, so you can also do the plotting with the main axis. Instead of having x and y, maybe you can say that I'm no longer need to have x and y there. You can rename it the way you want, but also you can have the main title. You see, you can use plot and then put x comma y, and then you put comma again, you put main equal, you put the quotations, and you put the name of the title, and again you will put the x lab for labeling the x axis, and you put the labels, and also you can say the y lab for the y axis. But also you can define the size of this dot by pinch, where you put 14, and also the frame, it is the way it is going to be transparent, like the transparent of this dot. The frame, you say it is not going to be bordered, so something like that. If you say true, this is going to be big, something like that. And then this is also another thing you can do. And here also you can add the line that is going to guide you if it is the left hand side or the right hand side. This line is going to help us to confirm the relationship, if it is the positive, if it is a negative, because for us we have seen that if it is from the right to left side, this means that there is a negative relationship between x-axis and y-axis title, which means that when this increasing, we are from 2, when this increasing, these tend to be decreasing, which means that there is a negative relationship between this and this, because this, when it is increasing, this is tend to decreasing something. So using non-based function like a ggplot, you can also plot the scatter plot using non-based function. These functions, as we are saying, we can use the ggplot library for us to make better chart, and that's what it is. Most of the users, they prefer to use the ggplot because it has good chart. So what you have to do, it's like to run the library called ggplot2, and then after running the library called ggplot2, and remember that if you don't have it in your machine, but also you have the tidyverse, there is no need to call the library called ggplot2 because it is under the it is also backed into the tidyverse. As we have seen, once you have tidyverse, there is no need to load the ggplot again. So what we do when we are looking for the plotting, the relationship, so we type only ggplot, and then we put the name of the dataset. After putting the name of the dataset, we put comma, we use IES to say the number that is going to be on x-axis, but also specifying what is going to be on y-axis. We have mpg and watt. So those are the variables of the dataset called mtcars. So, and then you add the plus to add geo point. Geo point, what we are if we say geo point, we are talking about those dots, like those dots that we are having here, geo point, and also here you can say the colors you want. Here I said color red. For you, you can say the color you want. So again, the code explanation, you first pass the dataset code my MT card for ggplot. As I said, those are the dataset called MT card, and then this IES, what it means, it is inside agreement. You add the x-axis and y-axis. If we need to add x-axis and y-axis, we need to put the comma, and then we add this. We inside this we add x values, we equalize the variable that we want to be on x, and the comma we put to y, we equalize the variable we want to be on y-axis. So the plus sign means you want other to keep reading the code. It makes the code more readable by breaking it. So we add plus sign so that it continues to read the additional code that we are going to add on, and to use geo point for the geometrical objective, like those dots that we are going to use. Like if I say dots, I mean this one that is going to reflect the relationship. So again, this is also the scatter plot with grouped. I can also do the scatter plot. It can be interesting to distinguish the value by group, like a gender or the factor level. In general, let's say for example I have education level, and then I want to see the relationship between education level, or relationship between the salary and the experience, but also based on the education levels, something like that. So I think you understand it. I want to see the relationship between the salary and the experience as it is, if it is positive or negative, but also looking for each degree, looking for each education level, either to see for those who completed masters, those who completed primary, those who completed secondary, to see if the experience plays the same role to the salary they can earn. So that is interesting. That's what I was saying, scatter plot with groups. So you wrote library called ggplot2, but if you have tidyverse, there is no need. So ggplot2, put the name of the dataset, put RAS for having like a value in x-axis and y-axis, and keep in mind that when we are focusing on the scatter plot, we are looking for the relationship between dependent variable and independent variable, and the variable should be numeric. We are no longer considering the categorical variables. We normally use categorical variables for grouping scatter plot chart. So here, after doing this, also you can add the factor, and then if you color, you have to indicate the color also, but also here you can add factor, put another variable like gear or gear. So if we say gear, this gear, it is also like the gender, like the education level. This should be like a categorical stuff we can do. So that's what I can say. So the code explanation, it is the same. To change the color of the dots, that is the same. But also the box plot, we normally use the box plot to see to check for the outliers, to check for the minimum, lowest quantile, median, upper quantile, and minimum value to be displayed in the plot. And we use the box plot for checking outliers. So if we are using the box plot most of the time, it is also good to try to represent something or to represent information, but most of the time also it can help us to determine the outliers. So This is how also the box plot look like, and the way we do the box plot is simple. Type the name of the dataset and then add sign dollar to specify the variable that you are looking for, add y label and main title. If we put comma and you put the main, we are going to get the box plot of something like that. Main is title, and then once you have to do it like box plot, you type the box plot. Another thing is the same. What you have to do is like follow the procedure. So, and then the plotting in array, so you can box plot of variable by group. You can make the box plot of a given variable by group. So let us also build in empty card data set to show how this can be. So if I say box plot and then I say empty card, like I have the variable called empty mpg and also cylinder cyr, so I can say the box plot mpg and something like that because I want to look it into as two variable. I put the comma and then add the data and I put the name of the data and I add the title of the chart as this card mirage data. So and then I add x label, and also this is the number of surrender. This is also y label, mirrors background, something like that. So after doing this, I have to run, and then you see that things is going to be separatory. So again, the box plot of mpg by card surrender with groups name. So those are also another way you can add the groups, the names like group 1, group 2, group C, group 1, group 2, group C. Those are the kind of things you can do when you are trying to visual the numerical variables, but also looking for the categorical variables at the same time to group it into the values. So what we have, the way we interpret the box plot, you see this line we have here, this is the mean, this is maximum, this is also the minimum. So those are the maximum, so those are the minimum, those are also the maximum. First quantile, second quantile, and third quantile. Minimum, so this is the minimum, this is the maximum, this is mean, mode, median, something like that. So this is the median also. It can be also mean. So this is also the first quantile, second quantile, and third quantile. So that's what to have to know. First quantile, second quantile, and third quantile. So those are the kind of things. And remember that if we say the second quantile, we are saying 50%. So and this 50%, it is equal to the median. That is sometimes being the same. So and again, this is also the box plot where you can add the color like a red, blue, green for each group, and this is what is adding only to the box plot, and this is under the guidance of ggplot as we have seen. So the bar chart, or we have the bar chart or bar graph. It is a chart that representing the categorical data with rectangular bar with height and the length of the proportional to the value that they represent. So we are using bar chart mainly for representing the categorical variables, but sometimes you can present the categorical variables based on the numerical variable, but mainly focus it is representing the categorical variables so that can be easier for us to understand it. Let's say, for example, I have the variable called education, or I ask a question during the survey where I was asking you the level of education, but I will need to know how many for each categories of education they responded, and then I will also need to put it into a graph. So I will use the bar chart, and also pie chart. It is also workable for categorical, but if you have the variable that has more than 4 categories, if I say more than 4 categories, I want you to give an example to understand it. Let's say I have education level. Within education level, we have a primary, secondary, tertiary, university, PhD. Those are the categories that I'm talking about to the variable called education level. So if you have more than 4, it is advisable to use bar chart. Otherwise, you can use, if you have a small categories like a gender, male and female, of course, there is no need to use bar chart. It seems like you can use pie chart. So the pie chart, it is also representing the percentage, but also the values of categorical variables, but mostly for the variables that has few categories inside. If I say categories, understand the examples that I have given to you. So those are also the data set called VADIF. This variable called VADIF, it is also composed by the rural, male, rural, female, urban, male, something like that. So the bar chart, that's how we plot the bar chart. You can also type the bar plot and then you put the name of the data set and also put the comma of the variable that you are looking for. Like something like that. Subset. So if we say subset, we are trying to look for the subset. We have already generated the variable called subset, where subset it is composed by bar underscore date, and then you put rural and something. We are creating subset of this, but you can use it in a simple way, like this one. So let's use this one. We can use grouped by. This is also the best way you can use. I think that what you have to know, this is the name of the data set. This is also to have like a beside, it's like categorizing this into 1, 2, 3, having like the difference bars that representing each category is like red, blue, green, something like that. So, and then another thing, it is the line chart. So the line chart mostly it is used when we are plotting the date distribution or date variables when we are looking for the trend. So if we are saying about the trend analysis, understand that we are looking for the line chart. If we are talking about the trend analysis, we are looking for the line plot, and also it can also help us for making some predictions that on what is going to be happen. But also when it comes to the finance, it is going to help us a lot to look for the forecasting. Those are things we used to look for when we are plotting the line chart. But keep in mind that the line chart, it is also linked to the date distribution. So simply as that. So, and here this is an example of what you can do for the line chart. What you do, it is just like a plot x and y, something like that, and then you have to run. No, there is no another technical stuff. If you see the way plot, the way scatter also works, it is also the same as this stuff also works. What you have to do, it is adding those kind of things, columns like that, types is equal to 1. Those are the things that what is also added that we don't have in scatter plot. We add the type only, but other things are the same. So this is also another exercise we can do for plotting. So this is also the pie chart. So without taking much time, so let's go to the practical side where we will see how also visuals look like. But what you have to do, it is just to follow the procedures, like to look for these notes that we are having here. So me, I'm trying to load ggplot, but there is no need since I have this, and I generated the variable called the student for me to make better visualization. And we already, that is the data set we have already used for data manipulation. That's why I continue to use this one. This is also the basic plot for plot structure. If we are using scatter plot, we have already seen that the scatter plot, it is for looking the relationship between dependent and dependent. So I type the plot open bracket, and I put the name of the data set, and then I add the sign. So I want you to see how sign also works. So once I add the sign, I have to add the USD something, you see, You see I want to add the USD something. If I add this one, you see all variables that is in my data frame code student is coming, and then I have to choose math. So after choosing this, of course I have to do the same, and then I choose English. We are trying to see if it is the relationship between max score and English score. So this is the main, the title versus English score, XLab math score, and Y English something. This is the color, and this is the dot, sorry, the circle of the dot. And if I run this, you see what I'm going to see. You see that now I am seeing so you see that now I am seeing this dot. It means that there is a positive relationship between the English score and math score, because the value is tending to decreasing. I don't know, it can be the negative, those kind of things, but this is not being good, but this is how the result should look like. And also this is another chart called the histogram. Mainly it helps us to make the distributions of a numerical variables. If we are looking for the distributions of a numerical variable, so we will also need to use the histogram if we are looking for distribution of numerical variables. So those are how the scatter plot, the histogram of math score also look like. What you do, you type hit, you put the name of the dataset, select the variable, and then other are the same. What you have to do is just to follow the procedures, and others are the same. But also this is the box plot. I think we have seen the box plot. We are looking for the box plot between gender and female. Group the box plot, something like that. But also here it is another thing called the bar plot, where on bar plot we are creating tables like a grade, and after creating the grades we are trying to plot the total grade. You see the grade count. After looking for grade count, you see, so on grade count, because I didn't run this before, so once I run this I'm going to get this one. So we will see how also we can add the label value here. Instead of saying that I have it something like that, this is somehow interesting, but it is most advisable to have the value here, so that if I see B, automatically I will see the numbers without linking with something like that. So pie chart, it is also the same, so I'm not going to do much. This is also the scatter plot, it is also the same, but also this is advanced stuff. So when we are using the ggplot, so what I can say, there is no way to become the expert on this. So what we have to do, it is just like to be aware that so knowing doing better visualization, it is like doing the better practice. And also keep in mind that the ggplot, it is a advisable package for making better visualization, to not just considering the sample building functions or the benchmark formulas that we can use in R programming, but the logic are the same. But if I run this, you see that there is a difference, you see, on the chart. So even for the scatter plot, even for the histogram, even for the box plot, or even for the something, you see there is no way of fearing this code. What you have to do, I give you the explanations on the ggplot. This is the name of the data set. This is for us to help us to add x-axis and y-axis. This plus sign is for us to tell other that consider also the second code, continue to consider those codes that I'm adding here. So if you finish the line, what you have to do is just to add the plus when you are really continue to adding a lot of instructions to make better so visualization. And there is no way, there is no expert on doing better visualization. So your creativity, that is what is going to reflect you when you are dealing with the data visualization. So, and I hope that you understand that the ggplot is important, and continue to do the practice on this reason. and this is the practical exercise you can do. And I already uploaded the additional materials on system. Feel free to repeat this kind of code that is there. It is workable, and anywhere, any machine that you are using, you can also do this kind of things. That's why I have avoided to add the real data set, so that is going to confuse you while you are trying to make better preparation. So thank you once again for making this course to be happen. Thank you for watching this session. I hope that you are going to look into the final session of intermediate level, where we are going to focus on the using artificial intelligence on making explanatory data analysis reporting. So thank you once again. Let's meet to the next session.